Your volume just cut out.
No, I said let's do it.
All right. Here we go. Bass Players United family, how are you guys doing today? We got a very special guest in the house with us, Mr. Morgan Turner. Played with artists such as the likes of Tasha Cobb to Jason Nelson, so on and so forth. I know I'm probably forgetting a bunch of names out of the billion people you mess with. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Morgan Turner. How you doing?
What's up,
today, sir?
man? I'm doing amazing, man. Thank you for having me on here. It's a tremendous honor. I don't count it lightly when people want to include me in these type of ventures, but I'm always grateful, man, for real, seriously.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. And man, why don't you start by giving us kind of a little 10-second taste of what you do?
I don't know, man. I literally just consider myself to be the bass player that, plays what's necessary for the song. I guess nice. So it's just like playing the song, man. Just playing the parts.
Absolutely, man. So why don't we start by why don't you tell my people a little bit about yourself?
Well, I literally am just a simple guy from Baltimore, Maryland. Been living here all my life, except for the 2 years that I lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, when I was going to school at Johnson C. Smith and Lenore Ryan College in Hickory, North Carolina. And prior to that, I met up with Pastor Key's son, Chris Key, on his first gig in Baltimore, Maryland, and we kind of stayed connected all through my last year of high school. And my last year of high school, I had an audition opportunity to go to Berkeley School of Music in Boston, and then I got accepted at Johnson C. Smith. So, my kind of notion was, do I want to go to school to try to get the job, or go to Charlotte where the job is and, still be able to do the school thing? So that was kind of my deciding factor. I know everybody's like, wait a minute, you turned down Berkeley? I absolutely did, but still I went, for the whole purpose of the school. But that was literally back in, I know it's going to make me sound old, that was back in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah, I graduated from high school in 2001, and that's when I kind of became a part of the camp, not officially, because Tony Russell was definitely still the main bass player at the time, but I was just, so fascinated with how they did things that him and Maurice Fisher, my favorite bass players, period. I just kind of just hung around and learned a lot just from being in that setting, so being in that setting, I got to meet people along the way. Like I got to meet, and everybody wants to call my phone now so I get on. But I got to meet like the Ethan Farmers and Derek Swole Rays. I got to meet the Rex Hardys and the Calvin Rogers, Kevin Randolphs, Matt Kelly Simmel. I got to meet all of them at an early age, not knowing, how I would be connected to them later and being able to work with them in my older years. So it was really, really cool how everything just came into play.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much it. And then, that really transcended into where my career has evolved into.
Wow. That's crazy that you actually just mentioned Maurice Fitzgerald, because I was actually just I was watching Fred Hammond's Radical for Christ show just the other day from I'm pretty sure it was like way back in 2001 where they were in like Las Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I did see Maurice Fitzgerald. That's cool, man. But yeah, talk to me like kind of like recent works. Like what have you like been up to like either before or after the quarantine started?
Even before the quarantine started, we had just finished doing the first leg of the I Made It Out tour with Pastor Key. That was going very, very well. Nominations with Stellars and everything. We were nominated in 5 different categories and made it to the final ballots. Helped him arrange that joint, so that was really big for the crew as a whole. Still cutting a lot of records. Some of the most recent works that I've played on and been a part on, James Fortune, his record, the Dream Again record, Donnie McClurkin, not yet. Jesus Christ. L. Spencer Smith that just came out. Miranda Curtis just recorded her new record in Canada. I was a part of that. Jonathan Nelson in Purpose Reunion. Just a bunch of stuff that a lot of people, I don't get called to play on every song on the record, but you know, a lot of my friends see fit to call me to at least be a part of one, maybe two songs. And you know, for me, I'm like, you know, that's amazing that, you know, people find what I do good enough and special enough that they say, yo, even if it's just for this one song, I want to put him on just to, you know. And then I look at all the other bass players that are on the record. It's like, wow, man, I actually get to share, you know, records with the homies that, you know, I grew up listening to, and some that I actually grew up working with, you know, like your Thad Johnsons, your Alan Snoop Evans. Like those are like, you know, my peers, Justin Raines and all them. Us ending up on the same record is like so dope. Because we're all so cool, man. It's just like those are my brothers. For real, for real. We laugh every time we see each other. We might live in different states, but we call and check on each other. Mm-hmm. So that really has been it for me. You know, also producing for my own artists here under Rhyme and Reason. We released maybe about 6 records in the last 7 months that is out right now all over iTunes. Doing great. Jamila Richardson, Chica Robinson, April Hall. We released 2 compilation records, one for Christmas and one for Easter. So it's, you know, God is still finding ways to, you know, keep me working. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Now, yeah, I actually did just on Monday I just did an interview with Snoop too, so that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's my man. One of my closest and dearest friends, man. I'm a fan of him, and he says he's a fan of mine. I don't believe it, but you know, I got so much respect for him, man. Me and Snoop really met early on before both of us started majorly in our careers. We met at my home church here in Baltimore. He was playing for a choir from Detroit and killed so bad. So then when we saw each other again, he was with Fred and I was with John. It was like, yo, when did you? It was just so cool, man. It was so cool.
Wow, absolutely, man. So, what kind of gear do you use?
I am fully endorsed with Bass Mods. That is my go-to of go-tos. Pretty much most of the time, if you hear me on the record or see me playing on stage, I'm going to be playing one out of the 5 instruments that I have with them. Also, I still have, everybody always asks me, do you still have this bass? Do you still have that bass? Every bass you've ever seen me play with, I still have. So yes, if you go all the way back to the Keith Roscoe days where I had, you know, my LG 5003 and, you know, my SKB 5006. I want to interview, son, you have to go. I told you that. Sorry, y'all, dad moves. But yeah, I still have my Roscoe's. I still have my M-Bass. Still have my Fender 97 that's never going anywhere. Still have my performance bass that I got back in 05. Still have all my P basses, all that stuff. If you see me with it, I still have it. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. It's not any bass that I've ever gotten rid of that I don't have.
Yeah, like my main favorites, of course, I love Music Man and I love Ibanez.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then kind of like when you practice, like do you just like do arpeggios, just you know, regular pentatonics, or what do you like, just groove? What do you do?
The funny thing is, me and Derek were literally just talking about this. Derek Bennett, one of the most phenomenal bass players out there right now. We were talking about it. And I really told him my practice regime is really based upon technique and stuff that I know I use all the time and stuff that I know I can do better. Because one of my things that I'm really trying to just hone in on is speed and clarity as much, you know, being able to play it. Everything I play, if I can't play it slow, then I can't play it fast. You know, so, you know, I really always just try to play basic stuff, you know. So just different exercises. So little stuff like that. Just being able to play it with different techniques. So you know, everybody's doing the double thumb technique. So stuff like that, or so just being able to do the little basic stuff with the scales multiple different ways. Because as a bass player in gospel music, it's really not our job to show that we have all the chops in the world, but it's our job to actually just play the bass, and it's okay just to be the bass player. I tell people that all the time, you know.
Yeah.
So really working on technique and making sure you're comfortable with doing certain things that bass players absolutely do. Like I have a lot of young bass players that like, man, how do you get your slap so clean? Well, how do you slap, period? And then their response is, I don't know how. That's like, it's a part of the instrument. It's like, it's just some things you should know, but I get it that for a season wasn't popular. So, you know, it's, okay, well, we're actually going to do this whole scale.
What scale is that you're doing?
Oh, especially major scale and extra. But I'm just doing it in thirds. So one of the exercises I do is I do it kind of, if I think about it in numbers, I say, okay, I'm gonna do straight 1. Straight up and down. If I'm gonna do a 2, then I'm gonna do So if I'm gonna do it in 3s, So that's kind of, I know I'm being real sloppy right now, but I'm just trying to get a bunch of information in there. But let me do it real clean. So then if I'm gonna do 4, so that's all based off of 1 scale.
Wow.
And then, you know, if I was working with like intermediate students on like how to build chords, then it's like, okay, now we arpeggiate everything. So that's a little intermediate stuff, but that's helping you get around the fretboard a lot easier. But yeah, those same exercises. So if we're doing those fingers, you should be able to. You know, and the same thing on. So that way you can just get used to. It's kind of hard to see my hands. Let me move this down a little bit. So you. Yeah, all thumb. Now incorporate slap, you know, on the other one. So it's different ways of doing, you know, everything you need to do, but just with things that people don't think about. You know, everybody thinks you got to learn the song in order to learn the technique. No, like sometimes the technique comes from playing the simple stuff. You know, so just being able to. So that's all like based on. So the same technique, just being able to incorporate it in certain elements of the song. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, that's nice, man. So just alternating. I
Yep.
like that. So talk to me. Also you work with R&B artists too.
Not as much as I like. If I've had the blessed opportunity to work with Brian McKnight, and I've also had the most recent one was Queen Latifah.
Wow.
So right, I know people say, "Wait a minute, you work with Brian McKnight and Queen Latifah?" Yeah, I've had the opportunity to work with both of them, which is absolutely amazing. I will have to say the Brian McKnight situation. We were doing it was a stage play called Cheaper to Keeper that had
Yeah.
Vivica Fox himself. So I was part of the house band, but of course we were doing his songs in the play. So, working with him during that time, learning a lot about how to approach music from that side, him being a fantastic musician, bass player, piano player, it's like learning a lot how to play that style of music was great. The Queen Latifah gig was amazing. I literally got the call from my big brother, Dante Winslow, and it was literally based upon text that he was like, "Morgan, you know how to read sheet music, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, So then after that, he said, "All right, I'm gonna hit you back." 10 minutes later, he was like, "Look, man, Queen Latifah has a gig at the Mohegan Sun, and she needs a fill-in. Blackstone needs a fill-in. You play upright?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. No problem."
Wow.
So they flew me out to Boston. We had rehearsal for a day. I got to, on that gig, amazingly work with one of the most incredible drummers in the industry, legendary John Roberts, Lil John Roberts, and also got to sit in with Pete Kuzma. Pete Kuzma was on main, and funny enough, the guy on guitar, me and him have cut several records together. Anthony DiCarlo, he played guitar on the Jason Nelson Forever record, and we also did the Miranda Curtis Open Heaven record. So I felt kind of comfortable having my homie there. You know what I'm saying? So those are kind of the biggest moments of R&B for me. And, it's not a long, extensive thing, but, for people to say like, "Yo, you've done 2 R&B gigs and it's Brian McKnight and Queen Latifah." Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. You said like you're also like inspired. I remember earlier you said like people you're inspired by, like your people are like Fred Hammond, like Maurice Fitzgerald,
Mhm.
Sheree Reed, people like that. Is there anyone else?
Oh, absolutely, man. My list runs deep of people that have literally inspired me. A lot of people on my list, some people don't even know, uh, unless you just like come up in my generation. But people like Anthony Harmon, God rest his soul. Also, Joel Smith, God rest his soul, one of the greatest bass players from gospel music. Another favorite of mine, Jimmy Newell. Some of the guys that I really learned early on from before I knew who a Maurice Fitzgerald was, before I knew who Sheree was, before I knew who all those guys was, it was Steve Huff out of Chicago. Another guy, Sam Scott and Alan Golden out of Mississippi. They were playing for Mississippi Mass at the time. Some other guys I listened to, DeAndre Thompson played on the Marvin Winans Perfect the Praise Church record. Oh, man. Even in my hometown, Tim Lindsay, an incredible bass player. Then, of course, had OGs like Jason Nelson, Corey Baker. And, of course, as I really started studying bass players, that's when I discovered who Maurice Fitzgerald was, who Sheree Reed was, who Ethan Farmer was, who Damo Farmer was, and then started meeting more of my peers like the Adam Johnsons, God rest his soul, Tim Robbins Williams, Justin Raines was young at the time. We were all like young coming up. Brandon Hodge, Ace Livingston, Mel Gray, just so many great bass players that I looked up to and still listen to their records. There's like Terrence Palmer, Barry Jackson that was playing for Israel when he first came out. Big brother of mine, Terry Tribbett, I love him to death. One of the most consistent guys that I've known in the industry for a long time. And just people that I've just grown up with, not only working with them, but just being cool with them off stage, Those were like some of my biggest influences. My close brothers, Rylan Charles Anderson, even though they're younger than me, RC Anderson. I was just talking to a chat about them the other day. RC is one of my favorites. Ross Smith from here in the DMV. It's just so many bass players, the name that I look up to, man. Jay Brack, Jesus Christ. I get lost in them all because there's so many that I look up to. Swole Ray, that's my dude, like one of my favorites. Swole, Daryl Freeman. The list really, really does go on, man. I'm inspired by everybody, for real.
Wow, that's nice, man. So talk to me, how was it working with Tasha Cobb?
The instances where I worked with Tasha was mainly on the Bloody Wind tour. And that was a great experience. I always enjoyed working with her. Also enjoyed working with her husband, Kenny Leonard, who I met in Charlotte way before he became Tasha's husband and everything. And I always, admired his musical directorship on the Anthony Hamilton gig when he was MDing for that. So on that tour, when I got the chance to work with her, it was just like, wow, just she's a monster at what she does. She knows what she's doing. She knows her show. Kenny is all about energy and delivery, and it's about having fun too. So it was very, very much an enjoyable experience with them. And I love them like family. They're all great. I can honestly say I miss being on stage with them. Whenever they would call me, I was never their main bass player, but whenever they would call me, it was always love.
Nice, man. So, kind of, who and where do you plan on working, like, kind of when this is all over? And, like, who do you plan on working with?
Oh, man, look, when this is all over, I already know my tour schedule with Pastor Key is going to be crazy because we already had the rest of the tour lined up for the whole year. So I know that's going to be doing some things. I know there's some other, Jason Nelson is getting ready to record again. So I know I'm going to be a part of that process. My boss, my mentor, Dana Saray, we're doing a lot of things. I started working with Brian Courtney Wilson recently, traveling with him. My man Tyrone Bell put me on with that situation. Hopefully I can stay connected with the Walls group. They're my family. I travel with them every now and then if they come out this way, or if they call me whenever, they family. Miranda Curtis, her new record should be dropping this year. Working with Justin Savage, Phil Bryant, Bart Orr, and like I said, still doing my own thing with my artists and my company. Doing a lot more church records and stuff. My church choir we should be releasing our record by the end of this year, Lord willing. So I mean, it's just a whole bunch of stuff going on, man. I never know when my phone is gonna ring or who's gonna ring it, but it literally could just be like a text come through my phone and be Aaron Lewis. Like, what up, Dick? I need you to play on the song. It's like, all right, cool, send it over. Then, ASAP will call me and be like, hey, nephew, I need you to play on a song. Cool, send it right on over, and I'll get it back. So it's always not up in the air, but it's always strategically planned by God when he has me to play on things. And, a couple of my friends, they always laugh because every time a record come out, I always get, are you on this? You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a little inside joke, but I do take great humility, and I give all praise and honor and glory to God that I'm able just to be a part of a lot of things that are happening in gospel music from a bass player's perspective.
Nice. That is very nice. So to kind of close this out, like kind of what kind of like parting words could you like give to like, kind of younger fans or like younger people like trying to come up, grow their brand, career, stuff like that?
What I would honestly say is, man, build genuine relationships. One of the greatest things that I've learned is being out here, relationships matter. Relationships can make or break every opportunity that you think you have or you think you don't have. I know for a fact, and I will publicly say this, that I am not the best out there. There are a lot of bass players out there that do this way better than I do. They can play circles around me. They can do all that. But I have built relationships that have made me a part of the artist's camp, a part of the production team's camp, where it's like, okay, I don't want to do this without him. So what that showed me was it doesn't matter how good you are as a player, because nowadays everybody can play. Everybody can play. So what is really making you a commodity to that camp? Is it the fact that, you know, if they need you to drive the van, can you drive the van? You know, if the artist says, all right, Morgan, I need you to carry my bags. Okay, Morgan, I need you to handle this. Or you know, whatever situation, can you really serve in a capacity that's really going to help the camp move forward versus than just being, I'm just the bass player. You know what I'm saying? Or I'm just the drummer. Being just something is not good enough to keep you, because the next time you can't make it, there's somebody just as good as you to fill that spot.
Mm.
So my advice is build relationships where your spot can't be taken.
Wow.
Build relationships where your spot can be elevated, where you can be elevated in that situation. I know for a fact, because I served so long with so many artists, there became a trust level from one artist to the next. So it's like, I know artists have had conversations about me to say, hey, I want to call Morgan for this. Is he cool? Yeah, I've had artists vouch for me to say, yeah, you should have him a part of your team. So when you build those type of relationships and people can speak well of you when you're not in their face, that really becomes very, very important. You know, once again, the playing part, 90% of y'all watching this already have the playing part down. But it's the relationship, it's the attitude, it's the heart behind everything. And I also want to encourage y'all, please do not get out here and think you're going to make millions and millions of dollars doing it. You got to have a heart to do it, because if you're doing it for the purposes of making money, you'd be better off going to get a day job. Mm-hmm. This takes a lot of sacrifice. This takes a lot of tears, a lot of blood, a lot of sweat, and it's not going to happen overnight. I know I might look young, but there are a lot of, you know, little grays up in here. I literally have been, next year will mark 20 years of me being in the camp with Pastor John P. Key and the crew. Wow. 20 years. I've been with Jason Nelson for 15 years. I started playing with him in 2005. I was playing with Isaiah 15 years. Marette Brown Clark, I've been playing with her for 15 years. So all of the artists that people mainly see me with and always see me with, Miranda Curtis, I played on everything Miranda Curtis has ever done. There's not one thing out here musically that is of her, you know, artistry that I'm not a part of, but that's all because of relationship, not because I'm so good. So my advice to anybody is build those relationships that are going to make you valuable to that artist 10 years from now.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know. You said you wasn't that good. You was grooving pretty hard on that Jason Nelson like Pharrell song. So I'm like,
oh man, it's just playing the parts, man. It's yeah, what the song is, what the song called for, man. And it's okay just to play your part. Dana Saray, one of the most brilliant producers out there, taught me that if you play your part, the rest of the song will work. Mm-hmm. So that's just been my approach, man. And I think people respect it, especially in the setting of gospel music. They respect it because they know when they call me, they're going to get somebody that's going to play bass. Mm-hmm. You know, great tone, great approach, but also able to give the producer exactly what they want, you know.
Okay. Nice. So, social media wise, like where can people find you if they want to book you and stuff?
You can find me mainly on Instagram, Mobase1019. You can just shoot me a DM or anything. I am on Facebook. I'm actually just starting to get back on there. I am maxed out at friends. No, I am not opening the second page. No, that's why I really lean to IG a lot. But also you can email me at mobase1019@gmail.com. That is the quickest way to get to me, those three outlets. And I always do my best to get back to everybody within no less than a 24-hour period. But yeah, man, I'm looking for great things, trying to make some great connections happen, more so than not. New artists, don't be afraid to hit us up. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think that we're too far out of your reach. Sometimes it really is a matter of the heart and not a matter of what's in your pocket. You know what I'm saying?
Nice. Man, I completely hear you. So, yeah, like kind of closing out, could you play us out real quick?
Oh, man. play us out on what? Oh, my God. I don't even know, man. man, I'm so like out of it today. Like,
Love it. I love that.
I
I
was just
love that
chilling.
Kojic flavor. Absolutely.
Oh, yo, man, appreciate it, man, for real, for real. And thank you again for including me on this, man. Seriously, I appreciate it. You're doing a great thing. I want y'all to support my man, for real, for real. We gotta support each other, for sure, for sure.
Appreciate you, man. I thank you for taking the time out of your day to come out and just do this with me, man. I appreciate you.
Okay, no, ain't no problem, man. Ain't no problem. Like I said, I'm honored, man. The honor is all mine, for real, for real.
Yeah, and next time I'm down in the Baltimore area, I would love to come work with you, honestly.
Yo, man, come through the studio at any given time, man. I'm here and I'm willing and ready to work with everybody.
I'm gonna have to take you up on that. You said you're going to Charlotte soon too?
Lord willing, when this whole COVID-19 lifts up, we'll be getting right back into tour mode rehearsal. So we'll be headed right back to Charlotte for rehearsal, man.
Yeah, about to say, because that's where my man Pastor Stephen Furtick and Elevation are all at.
Okay, yeah, all the homies play there. All the homies play there.
Absolutely. Well, you guys heard it first. Bass Players United, my man, I'm all over the place too. Mr. Morgan Turner, I'm going to send you a link to the page. I want you to be a part of this movement. And for those of you guys who are watching this who have not yet joined the page, please do. Bass Players United family. And as always, love, peace, bass, Jesus. All right, man.
All day.
Appreciate you. So if